Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today we are doing value study number 8. I'm really excited about this particular image. I think it's really gorgeous and expressive, but this is the part where we paint it in grayscale so that we get a sense of design and value and everything before we get into the color part of our paint. It's a real opportunity for us. Value studies are valuable. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hey guys.
He is helping me do all these extra videos so you guys can have even more success in your painting journey. And we will, at the end of this, be talking a little bit about the colors we're going to be using and why. So let's just hop on in.
All right.
Okay, so I have taped this up here. Once again, I have printed out on my Strathmore textured inkjet printer paper my little, I don't want to say homework sheet, saying that. It's my prep work. And in it, it has a nice little grayscale and a little color, and I'm going to paint that in here just using my white and black paint. Now, to that end, I am going to mix together a little grip. Of course, I just have no palette here. So when I have no palette knife, what I do is I take my brush and I use it like one. See? If you never knew what you do, if you don't have a palette knife, that's what you do. Just pull it to the side and make a plop of gray. So I've got this black, white, and middle gray. And since I have quite a lot of this middle gray on here, I'll just paint the whole square middle gray first. Because it's easiest.
I like the middle gray.
Do you?
I do.
I like a middle gray as well. I try to keep these value studies to just a few steps of gray, just so that you don't end up over obsessing and working on these too much. Not that it isn't good to every once in a while, not during April because you're probably tired, but every once in a while, take a minute and do an image using just neutral grayscale. You could do sepia or browns and stuff, but it's still always like kind of a good idea. So once you get that in, you have a gray square and now you're done.
So we're gonna call this one Clouds at Dusk.
Clouds at Dusk.
Clouds at Dusk.
Clouds at Dusk.
It goes next to
This
Bag
is my
of Lemons.
how-to basic.
Remember there was it Lemons in Shadow and Clouds at Dusk?
Yeah, it's totally what we're doing. All right, so there's this background little mountainscape. I'm going to probably do that. It's one of my darker values. So I'm going to come across here and take it a little bit lower. Really talk about how this comes down into the composition. This darker little form. And that's sort of what this really is about, is just going, oh, you know, how do these objects relate to each other? Do I need to move them? Do I need to change, you know, how lines intersect? It's just a good time and opportunity to get to do that. Now, the beach and the clouds are light values. There's a bit of a light value on our rocks as well, but for sure, I want to make sure that I've got a nice light value here. What you're doing is, and I actually think that there's an element of video game design that kind of relates to this that my husband shared with me once. Do you remember what it is?
No.
That it doesn't matter what graphics or anything that you put in a game, it just has to be fun to shoot a portal gun.
Oh, sure. Core game mechanic.
Core game mechanics.
Right.
This is like the core game mechanics of your painting.
So it doesn't matter how cool the graphics are. It doesn't matter how awesome the feature set may be. If it's not fun to do the basic thing in the game that you're doing, then the game won't be fun. So if it's a racing game, better be fun to race. If it's a shooting game, better be fun to shoot. So I guess value is kind of that analog.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think if the painting's design is off and the value's off, it doesn't really matter what else you put in there. It's going to struggle.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you look at artists, like, I recently have gotten really obsessed with this one Etsy jewelry artist. And the pieces are super complicated and ornate, but they work because this artist's sense of design is very solid. Now, I've noticed that there's slightly a lighter sort of little water area, and I'll tell you, this is going to be important when we paint our little oceanscape, because in these calmer beach scenes, if you're not going to be relying on waves, that sort of two-step of value will really help you. And it'll get a little bit darker as it goes out. So I can take my middle gray and add just a little black to it, and we'll make it just a little bit darker as it goes out. Too little bit.
I really like that.
Do you?
Yep.
Why? Because it's just awesome.
The way that it comes together really conveys the feeling of that little beach alcove area.
It does.
It's
Hold on.
very
I gotta get this right here.
vacation-y.
Yeah. It's very vacation-y. I think this particular one right here is kind of an unconscious wish for me right now.
You know what I did? I liked this beach scene so much that I forgot to desaturate it.
Did you?
Send it to the monochrome zone.
Well, if you're brand new and this is just the first video you found, all the other ones were monochrome.
Well, I just monochromed it. It's like
so. One of the things I've been wondering is if we're going to continue this practice after April is over.
To some degree, I would like to. I mean, we may not be able to keep it up to this full.
Not like daily.
Yeah.
But I mean these extra supplements.
Yeah.
I wonder, if they've been valuable for everybody.
I would like to keep them up as they apply.
I'm thinking.
Anytime we can put extra content in there, because we're not always going to necessarily do an acrylic painting that needs this kind of prep work, but we may have other kind of prep work, or
I feel like this has been really beneficial to me.
Oh yeah.
Just in working out what I want to get going on my paintings, it's been super duper beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And I have really appreciated it deeply. Deeply.
So what you doing there with your?
So I'm getting these these two areas. These are almost like the essential value of my whites, and this is my number 4 Cambridge. It's just small enough for this canvas, and so I am trying to get this wonderful little cumulus that we've got going here kind of worked out. And I like to play with the clouds, especially in if you're really struggling with clouds, try some Greyscale studies of them, and it may help you get out of the mindset of blue sky, fluffy clouds, what it's supposed to symbolically be, and you may be able to get back into what they actually are. So you're just painting the value transitions of the cloud and the form and shape, and not as much what you feel a cloud is or is not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm noticing there's this kind of nice little brighter white halo here, and it's a little bit lighter there, but not through the whole cloud. If you're noticing that, I don't know. I'm just trying to play with some of that shape so that later maybe I can take advantage of that fun thing. Yeah. I don't know. So this definitely travels back here behind our little bush. Now I'll make some nice value assessments because this will be also quite dark, the bougainvillea that's here. Now I imagine what's going to be a little bit tricky will be getting our rock going.
Really?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Why is that?
Just because rock shapes are so specific, sometimes it can get really easy to lose them in your design scape. So I'm going to really lighten this area of the beach so that the rock can be kind of a bit of a light gray, and then I can get some shadows going, and hopefully the shadows will convey some of the rock nature. I'll put that right there, little rockiness. Now, what really separates the rock from the beach is the shadow that comes along this little shoreline and travels out. See?
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Is there? There's a joke. We don't remember what it is. So it'll be important to catch that little shadow. Kind of a, it may be actually one of our darker colors, but for sure we need to have it. And then I can come in and catch some of the rock faces will be highlighted where the sun catches them. And that's going to be what we're probably going to be fighting to capture that sense of stony magnificence. And I'm going to guess dry brushing. When all else fails, there'll be dry brushing. So I've got that there. And then we've got this wonderful little bush, but I still think we need a little work on the shadow. So this will be in color, that'll be easy to pull apart from each other because I can use blue and the ultramarine and other colors. But and you can see in the grayscale that that's challenging. I want to make sure that I've got it. And then this is a pretty fluffy brush, so you know, we know we've got different little bits of this coming around. Now, I may think about doing something where it's a little bit heavier and bending down and bloomed up here in the corner. Might be fun. This is the time to think about it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy, weird little study on that. It's a crazy, weird study. But I think we got it. So now that we have that worked out, let's talk a little bit about the color of the piece and decide what our ground is going to be before we grid, because the next video will be gridding it in so that you guys can freehand it in if you want to. I'm going to use my Harmony. This is the Color Wheel Harmony. You can get this one on Amazon, and there's one that Bob Burridge, I think he's Bob Blast on YouTube, has that does the same thing that's really good, but you have to go to the website. So this is the Amazon one, and it works pretty well. I'm going to look at the colors that are very strong within this composition, and here's what's fantastic. So if you look here at what's really strong, we're really strong in this range. The complement to that is this red here, and the discord is almost the magenta.
You're I'm gonna have to figure out which camera is the best one to look at, and then try that. So show me again there.
All right, so most of our composition is right into here.
Okay.
Right? And if we were to say what's like really, really like directly across, we could even come into this. Oh, that's nice, into the blue greens. So here's our red. That is our complement, and that's what's going to be right here. And we're going to mix that with a little magenta. The discord is the purple and the yellow. And I think we'll only see little bits of that kind of peeking out on the rocks where there's a bit of yellow. But I think for the most part, it's going to be a very calm and a harmonious piece. I don't think we really need those. I think we're good just staying with the analogous colors along here on the wheel and then having that be our pop. And you can kind of see how maybe we pick this image because it's this. That's what called us to it. So I think I'm going to do a mix of ultramarine and phthalo blue for underneath the grid.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think it's going to let everything else sit on top of it the very best, since we're not doing a lot of yellows.
That makes sense.
We're going to be okay. Let's grid it in.
All right.
Okay. You guys are great. I hope you're still enjoying these valuable value studies. Meet me back at the next video, and I'll show you how you can draw it on. But if you really don't want to draw, that's okay. Remember, you can print out the traceable and just transfer it onto your canvas, and that is not cheating. Be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I will see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.